Most of us think we're being kind until one day, any day, we suddenly feel a flash of annoyance. You say yes, you agree to help, you tell someone, of course, no problem. And then you're irritated, maybe even resentful. You replay the conversation you had in your car or standing in line or watching something, and you think, why did I agree to that? Why am I always the one who has to be flexible? And why did they always assume I'll be the one to bend? So let me ask you something. Are you actually being generous, or are you trying to avoid the discomfort of disappointing someone? Because people pleasing doesn't always look like weakness. Sometimes it looks like being reliable, capable, calm, easy to deal with. And that's exactly why it can be so difficult to catch. My friends, today it's just you and me. And so we're going to talk about why people pleasing leaves you resentful and what to do instead. Not how to become cold or how to stop caring about other people, and not how to turn every interaction into a big boundary announcement. We're talking about the difference between genuine generosity and self abandonment masquerading as kindness. Because sometimes you really do want to help. Sometimes flexibility is the loving thing, and it's a clear choice for another person, and you feel good about that choice. That's not what I mean by people pleasing. I'm talking about the moment your mouth says yes, but something inside of you already is saying no. Today, I want to give you a simple process: notice, name, negotiate. And by the end, you'll have a way to pause before automatically agreeing and a sentence you can use the next time you need more time to answer. People pleasing often begins with very good intentions and a respectable story. I'm being considerate. I don't want to make things harder. They already have enough going on. It's easier if I just handle it. And sometimes that is absolutely true. But here's the question: are you choosing to help, or are you trying to manage someone else's reaction? Those are two very different things. When you thoughtfully choose to help intentionally, even if you're tired or you're busy, it's a clean yes. But people pleasing feels different. You agree before you even check in with yourself. You say yes because no somehow feels risky. You explain your decision before anyone's even questioned it. You start managing their disappointment before they've even had a chance to experience it or express it. And then you carry the emotional cost privately. That's where resentment begins. Not always because the other person asked too much, sometimes because you abandoned your own answer before they even had the opportunity to respond to it. Every yes you don't mean creates a small debt. You may not say anything at the time. You may smile. You may reassure them, oh, yeah, it's totally fine. But inside, a quiet accounting begins. I did this for you. I rearranged my schedule. I ignored what I needed. I made this easier for you. And eventually, you expect them to understand the cost, but they might not know there was a cost. They just heard your yes. They did not hear the no that you swallowed. They saw your cooperation. They did not see the resentment forming underneath it. Now, wait, hold on. This doesn't mean your resentment is invalid. It means resentment is information. It may be telling you, I've been agreeing to things that really don't work for me. And once you hear that, the answer is not necessarily to blame them. The answer is to become more honest earlier. The first step is notice. Notice what happens in your body before you say yes. Do you feel it tightening somewhere? Do you immediately start calculating how to fit one more thing into an already full day? Do you feel responsible for the other person's mood? You hear yourself saying, it's fine or no problem, before you even have decided whether it is fine? That moment is important. That is the moment before the open loop forms. And if you can catch it when it starts and slow it down, that's the first step. You don't need to know the perfect answer immediately. You just need to notice that your automatic answer is arriving faster than your honest one. So the next time someone asks something of you, pause. You don't need to be dramatic. You don't need to stare off into the distance. You just need to pause long enough to ask yourself, do I want this? Or do I want to avoid how they might feel if I don't? That question creates space, and space is where self trust begins to return. The second step is to name. Name what's true before you make a promise. Maybe the truth is, I don't have the capacity for this. I want to help, but not in the way they're asking. Or I need more information. Or I'm afraid they'll be disappointed. Or simply, I just don't know yet. That last sentence is incredibly useful. I don't know yet is not evasive, it's honest. It gives you time to move from reaction to choice. You can say, let me check my schedule and get back to you. Or I need to think about that before I answer. Or, I'm not sure I can take that on this week. Notice how none of those sentences are cruel. None of them attack the other person. None of them requires a 10-minute explanation. In fact, you don't need to explain a thing. You're simply allowing your answer to become accurate because an immediate yes is not automatically more loving than an honest pause. Sometimes the most respectful thing you can do is stop making promises you already know you'll resent. And if this is describing you, subscribe. This channel is about closing the open loops that quietly drain your time, energy, and peace. That includes unfinished conversations, postponed decisions, and all the little promises you make to other people while breaking promises to yourself. But don't just listen to this and move on. Think of one recent yes that still feels heavy. Not the biggest one, just one. Where did you say yes before checking in with yourself? Keep that example in mind because we're going to use that for the third step. The third step is negotiate. Now, negotiate does not mean turning every relationship into a contract or a debate. It means looking for the honest version of your participation. Maybe the answer is not a full yes or a full no. Maybe it's, I can help for an hour, but I can't take over the whole project. I can meet next week, but I'm not available tonight. I can listen, but I don't have the energy to solve this for you. I can do this one time, but I can't make it an ongoing arrangement. This is the third option most people miss. We think the choices are say yes and keep the peace, or say no and become the difficult one. But there is another option. You can be clear and caring at the same time. You can stay steady, neutral. You can allow the other person to have a reaction without immediately treating that reaction as an emergency that you have to solve. And this is where people pleasing gets uncomfortable because someone may be disappointed. They may be surprised. They may even say, wow, you used to be much nicer, much more helpful. That does not automatically mean you've done anything wrong. Their disappointment is information. It's not an instruction. Here's the part I most need you to hear. You are allowed to disappoint someone without abandoning them. You are allowed to disappoint someone without becoming selfish. You are allowed to change your level of availability when your life, energy, or understanding changes. People pleasing often treats disappointment as proof of your own failure, but disappointment is a normal human emotion. Adults can feel disappointed and continue to function. They can adjust. They can ask questions. They can make another plan. You do not have to prevent every uncomfortable feeling in the people around you. And if someone only experiences you as loving when you are overextending yourself, that's important information about the relationship. Not necessarily a final verdict, but information. So stop and check in with yourself and ask, hang on, what am I telling myself is happening right now? Am I being unkind or am I simply no longer hiding the truth to keep someone comfortable? That's the question. So here's your practice for the next 24 hours. Write down 3 recent yeses. Next to each one, label it honest yes, automatic yes, or yes that needs to be renegotiated. Don't use this exercise to criticize yourself. You are probably trying to protect something, maybe the relationship, maybe your image as the reliable one, maybe your sense of safety. Just get curious. Then choose one automatic yes and revise it. You might send a message that says, I've thought about this and I need to adjust what I said earlier. I can do X, but I can't do Y. That may feel uncomfortable. Good. Not because discomfort is good, but because new honesty often feels unfamiliar before it feels natural. You're not trying to become a person who never helps. You're trying to become a person whose help is real because you're choosing to. Obligation feels completely different than choice. People pleasing does not make you kinder. Let your yes mean yes. Let your no mean no. Let your not yet be a complete sentence when you need time to think. And remember, you do not close the loop by pretending everything is fine. You close it by telling the truth early enough that you can still choose what happens next. What's the one thing you've said yes to that you actually need to reconsider? Let me know below. Thanks for being here.